Hello! Finally I decided to show myself in a vlog style thing. This video you're about to see is something that I made originally in either late July or early August. I considered never uploading. The laptop was broken down and that delayed filming, and I thought, nobody's going to remember what I'm talking about here, who cares? But then I saw a newspaper article about the thing I'm discussing in this video just yesterday, and I thought, well, if Will Smith can apologise several months after hitting someone and a newspaper article can come out about him so many months after that, I can upload my video even though it's irrelevant. So, hope you enjoy. Hello, cousins, comedians and cabbages, one and all. I'm so delighted to show that I'm still alive, and I know I say that in a lot of the videos I make these days, but it's a while since I've switched this thing on in the first place. Wide gaps seem to pass, and the odd thing is that I'm kind of dressed in my pyjamas, which to many of you that are familiar with this channel suggests that I'm actually about to cook something. I am cooking something actually, so it kind of brings some symmetry. So what could bring obscure little me out of my cave? Well, I didn't know this, but it seems that a day or two ago, Will Smith decided to finally come clean about something that happened at the awards ceremonies about 4 months ago, which in internet years is about a year ago. Long forgotten, dust cleared, who cares? Well, it seems a lot of people do still care, because it became a meme. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to show you a clip. The whole world and his wife have seen the clip. If you haven't, please crawl back under your rock, because you're better off there, to be honest. All you need to know is that a certain individual by the name of Chris Rock, I didn't intend that pun, made fun of his slaphead wife. He didn't like it, so he slapped him. This shortly after laughing along with the joke and then finally going on to give him a slap after Jada gave him the look.
This guy, he's so obnoxious.
Oh, get a nigga a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, me and Reggie want to send one out to a very special lady in the house tonight. Loving you is easy cause you're beautiful. Doo 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 doo. Reggie? That was pretty. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie has left the building. Thank you and good night.
Jada Pinkett, ladies and gentlemen, inciting black-on-black violence amongst comedians since 1998. For all the memes, for all the humorous parodies, for all the sketches and whatnot, what I found amazing were the two contrasting views. There were some that were saying outright that Chris Rock deserved to be slapped because, of course, an artist should never be allowed to say his freedom. It's not at all dangerous to say we should censor him with violence. And the other was so-called anti-racist activists saying things like, it's not my place to judge how people of colour react. They sound like the very bigots that they're trying to oppose. It's as if they're saying that black people are just such exotic animals we couldn't possibly comment on their behaviour. Mindless puppets with no free will of their own, no matter how rich and powerful they are compared to the rest of us. Grow up! Jada Pinkett Smith, incidentally, reacted to this, first of all with an Instagram post a day or two later, saying something along the lines of what happened between two talented men should never have happened, trying to sort of both sides this. A little bit later, she raised this utterly cringe-worthy documentary about alopecia, which is what she has, the loss of hair. A mini documentary, which of course she would have done all along, even if it hadn't been for that little joke at her expense. It had nothing to do with what Chris Rock said at all. It wasn't at all a way of saying, yes, Chris Rock, you can joke about whatever you like, but don't you go making fun of my condition, young man. You can polish your Emmys, I'll polish my head. That was her response. We're going to see if her husband's is any better. And I wouldn't ordinarily jump on a bandwagon like this. Granted, the it'll be all white thing is a bit of an exception to that rule, but it was emotionally charged, so I had the excuse. But the only reason it popped into my head to do so, usually if I react to a video, I've watched the video beforehand, but not always, or I've watched part of it. On this occasion, I didn't even watch a full minute. I watched just enough to make me think of something. Because I mentioned earlier that 4 months is about a year on the internet. Opening it out reminded me of a video I made 2 years ago, which is about a decade ago in internet years, called Generic Apology by a Generic YouTube Celebrity. This is how I started mine. Let's see if Will Smith can improve on it. Oh, he's got the sigh in there. He's got the sigh and he's not even on screen. There's chattering in the background. He's got this YouTube thing down to a T. Were you watching my video? Did you actually see that? Were you the one person that liked it? I love how he's sort of dressed as if he just came off the squash court. Not a moment out of his day. You could just picture the makeup artists and the wardrobe people in the background saying, yeah, we don't want to put you in a suit to make it too formal. We don't want to put you in just a Hawaiian shirt as if you just got out of that video, Welcome to Miami. Make it a little bit in the middle as if you're just about to do something. That's how he dresses when he's out golfing with the Obamas or something. After that, I simply had to make a video reaction.
Why didn't you apologize to Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point.
Stoned or drunk, here comes the man with smack.
I've reached out to Chris, and the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk, and when he is, he will reach out.
It'd be wonderful to react to that video if he makes one.
I want to apologize to Chris's mother. I saw an interview that Chris's mother did.
Ooh, the plot thickens.
You know, Tony Rock was my man. This is probably irreparable.
It's a little slap. Now, granted, at the stature where they are, it probably is rather difficult. If it were anyone else, a little scrap here and there, it wouldn't matter. But the whole world saw this. So if anyone sees them together, the whole paparazzi shower will fall down on them. And they caused this. Will Smith caused this. That's why it's irreparable.
I spent the last 3 months...
Closer to 4.
...replaying and understanding the nuances and the complexities.
There are no complexities. You laughed at a joke, your wife scowled, you slapped him. Maybe you were on the influence of something, on substances, adrenaline or fame. Beyond that, no excuse.
I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment.
Trouble is, your rather eccentric son doesn't entirely agree, does he? We all saw the tweets.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something?
I'm gonna guess no.
No. It's like, you know, I made a choice on my own.
One of the ironies, I think, that grabbed the attention of this thing so much, quite aside from the obvious violence in the act, was the fact that Will and Jaden have this weird open marriage thing going on, which basically means he allows her to sleep around with men that she may or may not be borrowing from her gender-confused son, which in the context of Will Smith's behaviour can only be taken to mean, in the little world which the Smiths inhabit, by little world I mean the Hollywood, Los Angeles, California mess, that you're allowed to have sex with someone else's wife, but you're not allowed to tell a joke about her.
To all my fellow nominees, you know, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and it really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment.
The second half of the story in all this was of him sobbing as he accepted the award, and it's unclear whether it was because of the emotion of what he'd just done, the impact, realising probably would be banned from future events, a whole mixture of things. You kind of do feel bad for all of them in this. Well, him and Chris Rock, really. But other than that...
It's like, I'm sorry really isn't sufficient.
It is interesting because Jim Carrey had possibly the best take on this, saying we're not really the good guys anymore. And in a way, they really have been the good guys. They've been the arbiters of good taste for all the while. And all the time, the Weinsteins were going on in the background, the gropers, the debauchees, the drug takers, the casting couch. It's all been there. Only when somebody has the wrong politics do they finally switch. Another thing that happened at the awards was mentioning the Don't Say Gay Bill of Florida, which is only called the Don't Say Gay Bill by those who haven't read the bill or by those who have read it but hope nobody else has. And if I know it doesn't say Don't Say Gay in that bill from across the Atlantic Ocean, they certainly know.
What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down?
People still love you, Will Smith. Yes, they'll go on every single video on YouTube that's ever got a clip of you and make some reference to slaps within it. I've seen them, I've laughed at them, I've smiled at them. You'll always be a star. Nobody can take that away from you, even if you are banned from award ceremonies. It's not as if you murdered Chris Rock, and even if you had, there'd still be the people, like the fans of O.J. Simpson, who'd forgive you even that. You don't need a neuralizer to wipe the slate clean. You've grown up since you were Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or have you?
I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking.
Now he's coming to the end. Let's see if he can best my video as well. I'm learning from my mistakes. I'm still growing. I'm still young. I shall take some time off the internet for a while. And then I'll come back when everything blows over and I'll have millions of sycophants following me all over again. Remember, bigotry is bad. You're all in my thoughts and prayers. I hope that is satisfactory for you. I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much. Sorry again. Bye.
But I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy into the world. And, you know, if you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
So, all in all, not as bad as my generic apology video, but not that good either, because it had faded from public consciousness. Orlando Bloom punched Justin Bieber once. Most people have forgotten about it. Granted, he didn't do it at the award ceremonies. I think there are lots of things that could have been done closer to the time when it happened. And this has just brought things back all of a sudden, in a way that it needn't. That's my takeaway from this. Do you agree? Do you disagree? All I can say is I'm still a fan of Will Smith, still a fan of Chris Rock. Not that much of a fan of Jada Smith, I have to say. And I'm sure there are people out there that are going to call me a misogynist like they did when I did that book review. Tell someone who cares, I don't. That was my takeaway from this. A rather pointless video, and I just made a rather pointless reaction to it. As always. Thanks very much. Hope you're glad I'm alive. Ta-ta.